Hello, my name is Ron Williams. I am the CEO of Talon Companies. Talon Companies consist of three companies. The first company that we develop is Talon Executive Services, Inc., and that company provides executive protection for high net worth individuals, celebrities, and valuables that need to be protected. We also conduct corporate investigations for workplace when there's theft or there's drugs in the workplace. We also engage in threat management, threat assessments when people are making threats, and threat mitigation. And we do background checks and do proprietary protection for information. Our second company, and the one that I want to talk to you about today, is Talon Cyber Tech, LLC. We developed this company based on the need for cybersecurity. In the initial stages of Talon Cyber Tech, we were known better for our forensic investigations when theft has occurred by an executive or a person in a company. We mirror the hard drive and develop the evidence for either a criminal or a civil prosecution. I'll talk a little bit later about our services under Talon Cyber Tech, but we've expanded those services and added experts in the field from the NSA and other government agencies to attack the issue of cybercrime in America. Our third company is Secure Strategies International, and it is a security consulting company that provides physical security assessments, risk assessments, and emergency response plans. I'm retired from the United States Secret Service. I spent 23 years in the agency. A lot of folks don't understand or don't know that the Secret Service does other things besides protect the president, vice president, and foreign heads of state. For instance, 16 years out of my 23 were spent in criminal investigations, investigating counterfeit money, credit card fraud, identity theft, and computer and cyber fraud. I can recall running that squad, the financial fraud squad, in the early stages when cybercrime was just getting off the ground. And we had a couple of real interesting cases. One of the cases occurred when B of A Bank of America hired a graduate of the Air Force Academy who is a computer engineer to design their ATM machines. In the process of designing the ATM machines for B of A, he decided that what he would do is gather close friends and associates, and they would steal the information, account numbers, and PIN numbers and marry them up. And they had a plan devised to hit over a 3-day weekend on Thanksgiving, hit the banks with white plastic that they had developed the numbers and PIN numbers on. Here was a guy who was setting it up who decided that it was best to perpetrate a fraud. We uncovered that plot by an old girlfriend who came to us and informed us on what was going on. We worked the case. She became our informant, and we arrested them on the night that they went to several banks and withdrew money right before Thanksgiving to test the system to see whether or not they were going to be successful. It's estimated that had they been successful over a 3-day weekend, they could have stolen as much as $20 million out of the system. They already had escape plans drawn up and everything. That was one of the early cases that we worked on. Another case, which I thought was interesting, is a parolee who had been convicted of robbery was given a job at the Bank of America credit card center in Pasadena, where he proceeded to steal microfilm with all the accounts and account numbers on microfilm. Again, we had another informant come forward, set up a buy, and we arrested the individual after he provided microfilm to an undercover agent. All of these cases were interesting, but they weren't nearly what they are today. Cybercrime has evolved into the major, what I call the major criminal threat to businesses and companies and corporations and the government. This is the major threat that we have to be concerned about in the future. One of the cases that really highlighted the problem of cybercrime in 1991. The military establishment and the Pentagon started seeing a hacker that spent 20 hours out of a day trying to hack into the military and government systems at the Pentagon. They started an investigation. The FBI tracked the perpetrator to Portland University, where eventually identified a 15-year-old boy working out of his bedroom in his parents' home, was spending 20 hours a day hacking into systems. One of the systems that became evident after they examined his computer and laptop was that he had successfully hacked into the Bureau of Land Management. Now, a lot of people don't know about that agency, but Bureau of Land Management is a pretty huge agency that controls the dams in the country and forest areas. When he hacked into the Bureau of Land Management, he was one keystroke away from hitting a keystroke that would have opened the gates at the Oroville Dam. That water coming out of the Oroville Dam into the valley in Northern California could have killed over 100,000 people. That's a serious breach. And that occurred in 1991. A friend of mine, Gary Walter Gary Sharp, wrote the book Cyberspace and the Use of Force. The reason I bring that to your attention is that nation states now have gotten parity with the United States. They can't defeat us militarily, but they can harm us, irrevocably cause irrevocable harm by attacking our electrical grids, water supply, and critical infrastructure. Private industry owns 85% of critical infrastructure, such as ports, airports, electrical grids, and water supply. So you can see that we're a target-rich environment for countries like North Korea, Iran, Russia, China, China is probably the biggest purveyor of cybercrime that has stolen technology from some of our leading Fortune 500 companies like Boeing and other companies that have been hit and their technology has been stolen. There's a big push right now with the Chinese to get medical information and identity theft. So the healthcare industry is under bombardment and has strict guidelines about cybersecurity. So I liken the common cyber criminal. I'm not talking about the nation states, but I'm talking about your cyber criminals, Russia, China, national hackers. Think in terms of a lion on the Serengeti plain sitting on top of a hillside and he's looking at a herd of water buffalo. What is the lion looking for? He's looking for the weakest link. He's looking for the weakest buffalo because that's where the low-hanging fruit is, and that's where he's going to go to attack. So the issue becomes in cybersecurity, how best to not be the weakest buffalo in the herd, but by using layered security and doing some very simple, basic concepts in securing your system, you can protect your system and be a stronger buffalo. I use that analogy quite often because it's pretty accurate when you're talking about cyber crime, cyber criminals. So today is cyber crime really an issue? Let's just take a look real quick at some statistics. Incident crime losses in 2020 are 4.2 billion. These are according to FBI statistics. Average cost of a ransomware attack is 1.85 billion. Global cybercrime per second, $190,000. Average cost of a cyber crime for organizations is $13 million. And there's a 43% increase in social media fraud. So when you're talking in terms of cyber fraud, it's a big tent. You have all kinds of different types of fraud. Cyber fraud, Internet of Things is a vulnerability, obviously, ransomware, identity theft, healthcare fraud, bank fraud. These are all forming under the issue of cybersecurity. And companies and corporations are under a lot of pressure to ensure that they are doing the right thing and creating a standard of care for their information, i.e., we've recently seen the passing of the CCPA, the California Consumer Privacy Act, that establishes the conventional rules and regulations for the protection of identities. There's other laws that are in the books on the way. Cybercrime and cybersecurity is a hot topic, so therefore you've got cyber law on an ever-changing basis. Our belief at our company in Talon Cybertech is to converge physical security, that is securing your site from a physical standpoint with technology such as cameras, alarms, and human guards to protect valuable assets in a company. So physical security and information security or cybersecurity should be a seamless marriage between those two. And then we also believe in governance, which brings in the law, so that we're taking a look at cyber security and cyber crime from three different angles: from the law standpoint, from the physical standpoint, and from the IT standpoint. One of the key issues that has come to my attention over the years and working on the area of cybercrime is the insider threat. You can do a lot of things to protect your data, but if you have an insider that has inside capabilities and access, that's a huge issue. And I bring that to your attention because one of the first cases that we worked as a company here at Talon, and I'm not at liberty to disclose what credit union, what breach occurred at a specific credit union, because we signed NDA agreements. But I can tell you the facts, and the facts is that a credit union that is a very large credit union, national credit union, had their credit card base compromised, and their credit card numbers were stolen and being used in LA, in and around LA, for fraudulent purchases via the credit cards that were used, to credit card numbers that were stolen. I met with the CEO and the CFO of this credit union to discuss an investigation. And after hearing all of the facts regarding the compromise of the credit card base, I made the statement that we should begin the investigation on the assumption that it could be an insider threat and an insider compromise, to which they did not care to hear. And they dismissed me and said that they ran a company based on trust, and therefore they didn't think that any of their employees would compromise their credit card base. So they did a reissue, which cost them millions of dollars, of all their credit cards. And 6 months later, they got hacked again. And this time they called me up. I came in and I made the same statement to them, that I thought it was an insider job and that we needed to start the investigation on the inside and work outward, to which they again took exception and dismissed me. They did another delivery of credit cards, reissued the credit cards. It cost them another $1 million or so. And 6 months later, they got hacked again. This time they called me. I came in and they said, okay, we're willing to do anything we need to do to get this solved. We're getting hammered. So my team started interviewing some employees, and we identified six employees within the credit card based system that were charged with keeping track of credit card purchases and information on clients. They had acted in a cabal and basically sold all that the credit card based information, computerized information, to a gang in Los Angeles, and the gang would then take those numbers and convert them into stolen credit cards. That's an insider threat. And Secret Service, in conjunction with Carnegie Mellon, did a study, and the study showed that of hacks and cyber compromise, 37% of the time it was assisted by an insider, either knowingly and willingly or unknowingly allowing the perpetrator access to the system so that they could steal data and information. Today, what we want to talk about is what you can do, very simplistic concepts about how to protect your trade secrets and information that is vital to your company. Trade secrets are your crown jewels that establish your proprietary identity in the workplace. And every business and company has some proprietary information that they should regard as trade secret. If you don't establish what they are and trade secrets, and employee absconds with some of the data and information and sells it to another company or takes it to another company, you may have no standing to go after them from a criminal or a civil standpoint if you haven't established that the specific information that they've taken is proprietary and trade secrets. So that's the first step, is determine what information could be labeled as a trade secret and proprietary. Hackers use many different methods and ways to access the systems. Roughly 70% is still used via email with phishing and spear phishing types of attacks, wherein they attach an attachment to an email, send it out, waiting for an employee of a company to open the attachment and allow them to infiltrate the IT system with their malware. And they can leave that malware on embedded in the system for a very long time without activating it. That's why there's steps that need to be taken and implemented within every company and corporation, and even at home computer systems. And I'm going to make those suggestions here in a few moments. But before I do, let's talk about how hackers go about getting into the systems and exploiting the IT system itself. There's ransomware is a form of attack that is ever increasing, as you well know. The attack on the JBL meat packing plant in June of 2021, the Russians did a ransomware attack on JBS meatpacking. It affected 10,000 workers and drove the price of meat up substantially. So, how did they do that? By there's various ways that hackers go about attacking a system besides phishing and spear phishing. Spear phishing is a little bit different than phishing, because spear phishing designates a specific target, whereas a phishing expedition may be a blast that looks for vulnerabilities. And I give you an example. One morning on a Monday morning, we got a oh my God call. We call them the oh my God calls. And again, I can't identify the CPA firm, but a very large CPA firm that got hammered on a Sunday. It just so happens that the gentleman who ran the IT system at this CPA firm was examining the system, and he saw anomalies starting to occur. So he moved to try and block what he thought was an attack, and he simply couldn't do it in time. So he unplugged the system, and that was the last thing that he could possibly do, is unplug the system itself. They had no idea what kind of damage had been done, and of course, had the Chinese, which perpetrated this hack, been successful, they could have extracted very, very important tax information from with their clients, and it could have ruined the company, because they would have had to, under the California breach law, they would have had to notify every customer in their database. Fortunately, on Monday morning, when we got the call, we responded with our computer emergency response team. We went immediately to the firm, started examining what had occurred. What had occurred is that the Chinese had sent out about 100,000 blasts looking for vulnerabilities, looking for open doors. It's kind of like having your home where you lock the front door, but you leave the back door open, or you put the key under the mat for somebody to find. They discovered a remote server, a vulnerability in the remote server. They attacked the remote server, jumped to the primary server, and took over all the desktops at the CPA firm. They were probably minutes away from exfiltration of data. That's our estimate. But fortunately, he moved to block the system by unplugging, which when we did the examination, we discovered that no data or proprietary information had been exfiltrated, which basically saved the CPA firm. So there's multiple ways that the hackers get into systems. Of course, nation states with professional tools and expertise can usually get into almost any system over a period of time. One of the issues is today's environment. People want to go and get the latest quote tool that will identify a breach and expose the breach. The problem with these tools that come on the market is that the hackers, professional hackers, really take a look at these tools and figure a way out on how to either use them against the company or how to defeat them. And so over a period of time, they're able to defeat an antivirus and firewall, or the newest and greatest protection tool that's out there. So there's different ways that they go about attacking a system. Some use credential scraping malware that gets a new username and password for a privileged account not protected by multi-factor authentication. Knowing that the hackers have figured out a way to defeat the tools, and that cybercrime and ransomware go hand in hand, and they are increasing almost on a daily basis. And what we see is a critical need now for security professionals in the industry. What is it that you can do basically to protect your systems? And I'm going to give you 10 tips. Monitor all transmission in real time, 24/7. Examine the logs on a daily basis to determine whether you see any anomalies. Patch your systems. That's probably more important than firewalls or antivirus software. Install antivirus software. Add a spam filtering. Number 4, add a spam filtering service in front of your email system. Block malware and protect against phishing and pharming. Number 5, encrypt your most valuable R&D research and trade secrets in transition or at rest. Monitor employee electronic transmissions. Establish when you hire people, have them sign an agreement acknowledging that you're going to monitor their electronic transmissions. Why is that? Because you own those systems. They don't own them. And therefore, any proprietary data or information that moves through those computer-based systems belong to the company. And so it keeps honest employees honest. Monitor employee electronic commission. Number 7, control USB drive copying or provide for an authorization system before anyone can copy data to a USB drive. Number 8, block risky file types. Number 9, backup. Back up your proprietary data in a regular backup system. We recommend every 2 hours that the proprietary information be backed up. Number 10, have all of your employees trained to detect social engineering schemes to block those who want to gain access. A guy by the name of Kevin Mitnick many years ago was the purveyor of social engineering, wherein he would study a company, find out who was working in the IT department, and he would find out who some of the valuable people in the company were, some of the executives. What he would do is when he got through studying a particular company, he would call the executive and say, "This is Dan Smith down in IT. We're going to take you offline for about 30 minutes. We've got some adjustments to your laptop and for your information. And we'll put you back on in about 30 minutes. What's your password so that we can put you back?" And invariably, almost 100% of the time, it was given up. And once he obtained that, he had access to the system. So social engineering is still alive and well, and your employees need to be trained to detect social engineering, as well as what not to do about clicking on emails that come to them without signage or without them understanding who sent the email. So that's it for today. I do want to end by saying that we have expanded our services exponentially to meet the threat of cybersecurity or cyber crime. We have several consultants that are former NSA cyber experts and some other government agencies. And we believe strongly in the fact that you need to develop policies and procedures, and you need third-party review, which Talon offers, to make sure that honest employees are staying honest, to make sure that your proprietary data is being kept in a secure environment. And most of all, our experts can take a look and make specific recommendations about how to engineer and protect your system. So thank you for your time today.